Welcome to another exciting and enlightening episode. That's my promise of the Pineapple Perspective. I hope we live up to it. We've got a phenomenal guest today. We are going to be talking with a gentleman I think is fascinating. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, you get to see his handsome head and amazing bow tie. He is one of the well-dressed guys in the biz. If you're not, you're listening to this, click over to YouTube and just get a check out of this gentleman named Scott Porter. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much, Troy. Great to be here.
For those of you listening, he's wearing a bow tie. He's always got this really slick bistro apron on. He's got his white shirt. I don't know whether to order a old fashioned or an ice cream from him, but hey, he's in the churro business, so we're going to talk about that today. Scott, welcome. We start the show always with the first question before we even get to know you. This helps us get to know you. What is hospitality to you? What does hospitality mean to you?
I think the most important thing about hospitality for me is that, and the reason why I think it's just going to continue to be a thriving business and something that is always going to be attractive, is the human to human interaction. It's not transaction focused, it's relationship focused, it's interaction, and it is a game changer. It's a game changer for strategic business goals that you have, for growth, for impact, for it's just all about those human to human interactions, one-on-one, or and even not just in person, IRL. This is also digital. How do you, and I think that this is the challenge for all of us, is when we aren't human to human, how do we actually exude elements and what does hospitality look like when we are with AI, over a chat, over email? How do you really humanize all of that? And to me, that's the heart and soul of hospitality, is that human to human interaction that really makes you feel special, that makes you feel like a VIP, that makes you feel like it really, in my mind, it's like the namaste mentality. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. And so I want to treat you. You know what? I remember a friend of mine from Nepal was telling me he ran this white glove Everest. They didn't summit, but they were an expedition company that took people up to base camp. And it was white glove. They made fresh sourdough bread on the mountain, crazy level of service. And he's Nepali, and he was telling me that back in the olden days in Nepal, when there weren't cities and it was just all a bunch of villages and people would travel from one village to the other. Well, you're traveling with your family, you're walking, or you're, riding, whatever. And it's sunset, sun's going down, and you need a place to stay. You knock on some random stranger's door. He said that this actually really happened. You knock on some random stranger's door and you said, "Dear brother, I need a place to stay for my family. Can we stay with you?" And they would say, "Namaste, good brother. Come on in." It's like the Mexico, mi casa es tu casa, right? It's just whoa. And because he said, for me, this is the phrase that will always stick with me. He said that for us, the visitor is God. And so how would you treat a divine being if they were knocked on your door and wanted to come in? He said that is what governs the way that we live, and I think modern society is kind of taken some of that away from us, and there's other elements that have gone into that, but at the heart and soul and core for me of hospitality, that is what it's all about: treating other people with that divine mentality. So
Scott, where does that grow inside of you? Where'd that come from? It certainly has been added to over the years through your experience, and we'll get to your bio in a minute. But where do you think the spark for that mindset and that belief system that has led you to hospitality as part of your business career and your life choices, your journey, where did that all start?
I think it's just been a culmination of a lot of things. I mean, I look back at like all of my childhood. My mom is like the greatest hostess, right? I mean, I remember her, like making beds for guests that would come over, whether it was family or friends, and she would like mention that like this is how you tuck in the sheets so they're nice and tight and everything's great, like making sure that there's food there. And whenever we were coming back from trips to visit home, it's like split pea soup, hot and ready when you arrived. It's like, because that's what you want, And so it's that level of mentality, I think, is just kind of, I've witnessed that and learned by example throughout my whole life. And then it was really where it really became cemented into my soul is when I was a volunteer missionary for my church, for the LDS church in Mexico City. Or I wasn't in Mexico City. We'll get to Mexico City, but I was in Tampico, like below Texas on the Gulf of Mexico. And so I I was immersed instantly in the Mexican culture. The first area that I lived in for 6 months was a small little sugarcane town in the middle of nowhere, really. And I was the only one that didn't speak Spanish yet, and I was learning very quickly, like instantaneously, when I got to Mexico and thrown into the everyday life of everyone, is where I started to really understand what it meant to have the highest levels of hospitality. Like I mentioned, mi casa es tu casa is really a thing. We would knock on perfect strangers' doors and they would let us in, and we talk about religion and God, and they would serve us food. They would give us something to drink, and in the most humble of circumstances. And so to me, that like impressed on my heart so deeply, this idea of, I care about you. I want to learn about you. How do you like? They'd always ask with the food, like, what do you think? Like, do you like it? Do you want some more? It was just like food became, and we'll get to this too, but this language of love. And so for me, learning that firsthand by being completely immersed in a culture that was so warm and friendly and welcoming and very different from American culture, really changed my complete perspective on life and really our relationships with each other, and how important that is to be kind and to be concerned about the other person in front of you. And I mean, even just something as simple, when you in Mexico, it's very much like you walk into a room, you shake everyone's hand. If you don't, like, someone's getting offended, right? It's like you need to recognize that there is a human in front of you, and that is one way to do it. And you say good morning, you say good evening, you like all of these, the very simple things, eye contact. Anyway, it's just it that being immersed in their culture with their that beautiful mindset really set the stage for the entire rest of my life.
Yeah, we share some similarities there. I always say the story that my father was a partier. He loved to throw a good party, and he was famous
Mhm.
for his 72-hour New Year's Eve party. So you came over in the afternoon of New Year's Eve, and the last person usually left, 3 days later. And
That's amazing.
people would go and come back. They would go home, get refreshed, come back for
Sure,
barbecue,
totally.
right? Because by the way, all the big football games happen to be on New Year's Day, and then college went to January 2nd, and that stretched it out. But as you were talking, I was thinking about saying that out loud, and I really realized actually he got it from his parents, because the
Mhm.
house he was born and grew up in, and the house I grew up in until I was 12 years old, had a bar in it, and he didn't build the bar. His dad built that damn bar. Now, in Miami in the 70s and 80s, not unusual to have a bar in your house. Definitely,
Sure.
people have wet bars in their houses all over today. But I can tell you the generation before that was probably not as common. So the
Yeah.
40s and 50s and 60s having a bar, I don't know if bars really got into people's houses until the 60s. But anyway, come from a lifelong family of people that love to throw a party, be a host.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if they didn't do that, I don't know what I would be, because I was making platters and we were cooking food and making pies. My dad loved to make pies for some reason. We made a lot of pies and have these big parties, but the house was always open. I've told this story that I was a teenager, 15, 16 years old, went out with some alternative friends, some friends that weren't my core guy group, one night for something, got invited to something. I came home at like 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night, and my dad and my 5 best guy friends were sitting there playing poker and drinking whiskey and smoking cigars and cigarettes. And I walk in like, wait, I wasn't even invited to my own house party that what is going on? So definitely come from that. And like you said, very formative, right? I went to
Oh
culinary school
yeah.
because of that,
I mean, even
and
yeah, just like being like learning by that example, by association. You're like, oh, you can see you can see the reactions and the 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 impact that it has,
well, you get joy
on the-
from giving joy.
totally,
You're the guy that
totally.
brings out the stuff and fills the ice and makes the drinks and cuts the lemons and the limes.
Oh yeah,
You're facilitating, and then you can sit back and like realize that all these people are having a great time because
totally.
you curated the music, or you set up the TVs for the football game or whatever that occasion is, right?
Yeah,
That you're
yeah.
celebrating. Scott, next step. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. We need to get to know you a little bit more because we want to talk about some topics around the industry, and we need to understand who Scott Porter is and where he comes from. Give us that 100,000-foot bio. Where did you come from? What industries and places have you touched? Serial entrepreneur is my favorite title. It's what I should just call myself, except that I'm a CEO of a company right now. But so I understand it well, but help the audience understand who Scott Porter is and where he comes from.
Sure, yeah. I mean, really, I've had a super eclectic career path and very unconventional. I've always been involved in entrepreneurial ventures my entire life. Even going back to when I was a kid, I started a neighborhood newspaper and I had my typewriter. I mean, this dates me a bit, but typewriter under the staircase going into our basement, and I would interview my friends' family or like their parents about their job and about their vacation and type it up in some letter about what was going on and sell it back to everyone for like a quarter or something. And so that was like really my first entree into entrepreneurship. And then from then forward, I've just been always drawn to something that is a challenge and something that's like, hey, I love where I thrive the most is like a blank whiteboard. And it's like, hey, here's an idea. No one's ever done that or thought about that before. Well, let's figure it out. And so that is what has always driven me. Yeah, I mean, out of undergrad, I went to work as one of the first employees of a new PR agency in Seattle. And I went back to business school. After my MBA, I ran a couple of nursing homes, which really was where I cut my teeth on how to implement strategies of hospitality into everything that we did to see like absolutely outrageous results and success from very challenging environments. There were our whole business was to take over distressed nursing home properties and turn them around, make them reputable and profitable and like best place to work. Those sorts of things. And so we can get into that, but that was where I really cut my teeth with learning and then implementing strategies for creating an extraordinary brand and customer experience and with principles of hospitality. So that was where I tested these things out, and then I created a system and structure and framework that I've ended up using in the businesses that I've run since. After that, I took a brief stint in Washington, D.C., working for a management consulting company called Corporate Executive Board. Worked with them for long enough to know that I was not cut out for corporate life. And I just want to have my hands in too many things in the business, and I enjoy that too much. And so I went back and ran a home health agency in Southern California, back in senior healthcare. And then some friends and I started the first all you can fly membership airline in Los Angeles, in Santa Monica, called Surf Air. We basically took this system and structure of creating an extraordinary experience that both creates like raving fans, both internally with your team as well as externally. And so, yeah, we we did that for a couple of years. And then after my time with the airline, it was a natural next career move to start a gourmet churro business. Makes perfect sense. This is the absolute like planned trajectory 20 years ago. No, not at all. But I was, I'm obsessed with creating these extraordinary experiences for people. And I'd seen my system work in the healthcare industry. I'd seen it work in travel and tourism, and I wanted to see it in a different industry, different context. And so I started San Diablo Artisan Churros with this whole idea to fill lives with happiness, one churro at a time. This also gets back to my roots in Mexico, where I was an intern in Mexico City and discovered these fresh filled churros for the first time, and I've never been the same since. Kind of one of those, like, it would be irresponsible not to bring something this good back to America. So yeah, a little over 8 years ago was the right time for me to launch that. And so wanted to not just do something that, anyone can make churros and sling churros and, create a business, but we wanted to create an experience around the churro. We wanted to create something that was memorable and special and unique. And so that's what we've been doing. And at the same time as I've been doing the churro business, I also do consulting and work with companies to humanize the brand experiences that they create, both internally and externally. And one of the really fun and key kind of a core experience to that learning and integrating those into different businesses is to take executives and CEOs on these taco tour mastermind experiences to Mexico City, where we
Well, don't
really
land it there. Don't just slide off the scale there. Like you told me this in the green room, and I was like, wait, what'd you say? You'll take me to Mexico City on a taco tour, and I'll have
right.
a extraordinary hospitality experience that will transform my view and vision of what true hospitality can be at the most micro level. Don't don't
Yes.
don't skirt
Yes.
around that one, my friend.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that is exactly what happens. It is the whole goal of the experience is, I mentioned some of that, the impact that had for me when I lived in Mexico. And this is, in a lot of ways, this is my gift back of elevating that mentality and that mi casa es tu casa, that hospitality vibe and ethos as something that's exemplary and something that is really game changing for businesses. And so we immerse ourselves. We're obviously like eating our way through the city, the best of the street, best of like all the way up to the number 5 best restaurant in the world. And we like analyze this, and we're the recipients of all of this goodness. And not just food, but we have like once in a lifetime experiences that you'll never forget. So I don't know if do you watch Mexican wrestling, or do you know about lucha
I mean, I
libre?
know about it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So the masks, right? So we obviously go to a match, but then we take it a next level because we want something that's extraordinary, and we hire professional wrestlers to train us in the ring for 2 hours. We give everyone a Mexican wrestler name. We're all wearing masks. We're jumping off the cables, doing all the moves. It's incredible. It's like one of those bucket list items you didn't know should be on your bucket list. And we do like a Aztec steam bath ritual with a shaman that is just transformational in so many ways. Go out to the pyramids and have a really special experience with the archaeologists that work there. So there's a lot of kind of behind the velvet rope experiences that we do, in addition to eating the absolute best food in the world.
Amazing. I already said sign me up. Now you've really sold it.
Let's
Great
go.
job. All right, let's talk a little bit about some topics. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
San Diablo for sure and your business because there's a lot going on there. But the middle of our show, we'd like to really sort of dig into just some general topics. Now that people know who you are, where you come from, what your mindset is, what you focus on in life, the audience hopefully knows a little bit about me or can go back and listen to other shows or find other content about me. But let's talk a little bit about just in general hospitality as a framework for all pieces of any business, right? So what are some of the more valuable elements of the pineapple perspective, the hospitality mindset that you've seen be successful and impactful in the businesses that you've run? Because my God, you've gone from nursing homes to airlines to gourmet churros. I mean, that's a book. You better. I need you to write a book. That's the title of the book. Planes, trains, and automobiles. And it's
Right, right.
wait. Talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on how these elements transcend industries.
I love it, the moment that Sean introduced me to you and your podcast. I was instantly drawn to it. At the nursing home, we actually had a golden pineapple award that we gave once a year to an outstanding team member. Oh my gosh, wait a second, it was very, very similar to that.
Okay, again,
That's
if you're listening on
incredible.
Spotify, you got to go over to YouTube. I am holding up
That's
a golden
incredible.
pineapple. It's a
Oh,
piggy bank.
oh, it's a
It's
piggy
actually
bank. That's
it's actually
perfect.
full. It's a piggy bank, but golden pineapple on the
That
desk
is
behind me.
beautiful. We gave it to, we recognized one of our team members that was just always going above and beyond. And they also got a cruise to Mexico for them. And it was something, and it was just
Scott,
the
there's a
best.
theme here with your life. Just keeping it
Oh, I know.
real.
Seriously, I just can't.
It all comes back to
I'm like,
Mexico every.
I have a Mexican heart. There's no question. I just, it felt like coming home when I was living there. So but this was so important to us to reinforce with our team that, and we wanted to treat our team right first, and then as a waterfall effect, like they would then elevate the experience that they're creating. They're bought in, they care, they so these elements, like we have actually at San Diablo, we have one of our 6 values is the I in Diablo stands for interaction, not transaction. And that, to me, in conjunction with with like a differentiated, personalized, special experience that you're creating for someone, like those principles are principles that will absolutely take your business to the next level. It will help you differentiate from your competitors. It will evangelize or help all of your customers and clients evangelize your business. That's the best thing that you can do is that word of mouth and that recommendations of where to go and what to do and where to spend your money. We talk to each other whenever you can get it. Whenever a brand is brought up in dinner conversation, like that brand is either doing something remarkably well or they're doing something remarkably terrible. And so what we can do as business leaders is the more that we can instigate and seed those conversations with our customers and our clients so that they are out there actively talking about us and spreading all of the good news about the things that we're doing, the better. And so absolutely, like there's nothing that can replace hospitality as a strategic and competitive advantage.
Yeah, I mean, look, you and I come from a similar cloth. What you may not know, but some people in the audience know, is I spent 15 years. I own a management company that did distressed asset turnaround in the hospitality
Oh
business.
wow.
So we
Oh
did
wow.
hotels, private clubs, resorts, golf clubs, restaurant groups. And that's what we did. We came in with a
Cool.
C-suite and we dropped in and we took these very distressed assets. Either they've just been bought or the owners want to sell it, and the new owners are trying to, get this thing turned around. And there's a lot of challenges there. And the primary challenge tends to be the employee base, right? So talk to us a little bit about how you walk in the door of a distressed nursing home as an example. This could be any business. And if I'm in a business that I'm struggling with some of these things, talk a little bit about how you get the people to buy in to this mindset. I mean,
Oh man,
first you have to explain why a
yeah.
pineapple, right? I mean, there's a
Oh my
pineapple
God.
award. Well, Scott, why are we giving out pineapple awards at a nursing home? You got to get through that first. But talk a little bit about how you get the people on board.
This is absolutely one of my favorite things because this is core and fundamental to, you can't just create a great hospitality experience or like have like one-off nice experiences for people. Sure, that can work in that moment in a flash, but if it's not based in foundational principles and things that govern what you do, it's just lipstick on a pig. Like, and you're just completely lucking out. That's why I love this question so much, because the absolute, what I've seen in my experience is that the absolute first and foremost thing that you need to do is define your brand DNA, who you are, what is important to you, what are the goals that you're trying to establish with your business, and then what are your company values, what are the things that drive your decision making processes. I remember when I mean, for example, at the nursing home, it was like we these were our values, like smile, eye contact, recognize people by name, all of these things. You're like, oh my gosh, duh, those are so commonplace. But the thing is, in a nursing home, they actually are not. And so this became a huge key differentiator for us. Like, we were the friendliest place. We called people by name, not by number. And we embedded these values into everything that we did, into all of our operations, and they governed our choices. So, for example, when we're interviewing someone and we're like, these are our values, are you cool with these? Do you want to help us? Can you embrace these? Someone says, you know what? These are hard. Like, I'm used to calling people by bed number instead of by name. And we're like, wonderful. Please go and work for our competitor, because we are here. We need people that care about people. And that is something that is important to us. And so, in motivating, rewarding, recognizing, disciplining, everything that you do as a business, if you have your brand DNA well defined and your values in place, you hold everyone to that account, and you hold yourself accountable to that as well. And I remember in the nursing home, we said, like, one of the key things for the most complaint, or one of the biggest complaints that people have in a nursing home, is unanswered call lights. You know, the button that you push, come nurse, come help me. And so we said that it was everyone's job, even though I can't give an IV, even though I can't change someone's briefs, I can't do that legally because I'm not a clinician, I can still answer that call light and go get someone to help them. And so the director of nursing and myself, we said, hey, if you ever catch us passing a call light and not answering it, no matter how big of a hurry we're in, whatever, we have to give you $20 out of our pocket on the spot. And so that was our way of holding our own hands to the fire, and letting everyone else on the team know that we are serious about this. And so that is actually the reason why I take CEOs and leaders to Mexico to learn these things, because guess what? You cannot outsource this as the CEO and leader of your company. You can't say, okay, you know what, that whole hospitality thing, like, we need to let's have HR do that. You know, they can put that in place. No. Like, if you are not leading by example as a CEO, everyone else will see through it and they won't follow suit. And so that, I mean, I can talk about this for hours, but I love that question. To me, brand DNA, who you are, define it. Make sure everyone knows about it. What are your values? Define them, make sure everyone knows about them, and live them. Embed them every single day. The consistent commitment to those values, it is what is going to help you succeed. That's why we talk about, who do we talk about? We talk about Chick-fil-A, we talk about In-N-Out, we talk about Disneyland, we talk about Costco, we talk about Trader Joe's, because these are the ones that nail it because they're consistent. And I have this like trifecta of Trader Joe's experiences that I love to share. We can go into them another time, but it's like, whether you're in North Carolina or you're in Orem, Utah, when you say thank you at Chick-fil-A, they respond, it's my pleasure, which is something they got from the Ritz-Carlton. But this idea of, there are systems and structure that you can put into place to help you live your values every day.
I would say that if you own a restaurant and you walk in and there's dust on the lamp, it's your fault, and not your fault for not wiping the lamp. It's your fault for never wiping the lamp before, so that people can see that you wipe the lamp and that, oh, they should too.
Yep.
Yeah. And I have so many stories, but that,
I wonder, one of my favorite pictures of Walt Disney is a black and white picture of him picking up trash in the park.
It's the reason it's one of the cleanest places in the world, is such a commitment, right, to having an entire group of people that take that pride, and everybody takes pride. managers, almost every manager with a walkie-talkie is walking around with a grabber stick in their hand to pick up trash, right?
Yeah.
Take notice. People are wearing suits in Disneyland and Disney World, walking around in obviously corporate attire, not uniforms. And many of them, if they don't have a grabber stick, they will pick up. Nobody walks by trash in Disneyland, right? Scott, let's talk a little bit about this churro company. Why the heck did you create it? What the heck is it? Who does it serve? Where does it serve? What are you doing with it? There's a lot of story there. So talk about this churro life that you're in now.
Yeah. So San Diablo Artisan Churros. We've been in business for 8.5 years. We've made millions of churros on our mission to fill lives with happiness and create unique, lasting memories for people, and just with like such a delicious little indulgence. And it just happens to be we do it with churros. So it has been. I noticed that there was, I had these fresh filled churros in Coyoacan in Mexico City years ago, and no one had ever really ever done fresh filled churros in America. And I thought, gosh, we need to do something about that. Everyone deserves better churros. And this became like an opportunity for us to impact people for good and for better, and to just create these moments of happiness with people. And I was shocked to learn as I got into the business how obsessed and happy people get about churros, because they're scarce, right? You don't get them all the time. And so they're not like a cookie or something like that you can get and make on your own too. And so there's something that really became special about that really is special for people about the churro. It's a memory mate. It's a nostalgic food. People remember when they went to Disneyland, with their family, their honeymoon at the beach, or after their study abroad in Madrid or Buenos Aires or whatever. But it is such a, it just became this vehicle for us to spread happiness and joy in the world. And so we've just taken it and run with it. We've done, thousands and thousands of events, and we have churro making kits, which was our innovation that happened during the pandemic. Since there were fewer events, we took the churro making power to the people and created a churro making kit that we sell and on our website and Amazon. Corporate gifts, it's awesome. And then just last year, then the newest iteration that we're super excited about is a whole line of frozen churros, take and bake churros that are available in the grocery store, in the grocer's freezer. Frozen, just pop them in the air fryer, you have fresh churros in minutes. Or like in Target and Gelson's, Bristol Farms, Harmon's, Associated Foods, and we're just scratching the surface. So we're just getting going. And the newest thing that we're introducing are little itty bitty churros. I got to send you some of these, Troy. These are crunchy
Ooh,
little churro bits
yeah.
that are like insane. On imagine just snacking, ice cream, with popcorn on, maybe even as cold cereal. But it's we're just having the time of our lives, spreading some of this churro joy to people. And just like I said, for us, it's a vehicle for filling lives with happiness.
So real quick on the CPG product, take and bake. I make it at home. Does it come with like some filling? Because the filling of the churro is like your thing. It's not just a naked churro. You like to
Oh, I
have
love that you asked this.
fillings,
Yeah,
right?
so
Does it come with different fillings or pick by the flavor?
yeah, so the fillings are already filled. So
Oh,
they're already filled. The first product that we have on the market is filled with dulce de leche from Mexico. We'll be introducing more filling flavors in the coming months and years. But yeah, that is definitely our trademark. And so it's we'll have more flavors as time goes on.
so you have an events business, travel to the events, show up in different places, festivals, things like that. And then you have these kits, direct to
Yep.
consumer type kits that people can have a party or have some friends or
Yeah.
even a date night kind of thing. And now we're going to be able to walk into Target and Gelson's. And by the way, if you're listening to this, Gelson's is a fancy food grocery store in California, but there's others like that in your neighborhood, I'm sure. Is the ultimate goal Trader Joe's though? Because you have a affinity and love for that brand too.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. Trader Joe's, Disneyland, like Six Flags. I mean, we'd love to be everywhere. There's no, and we want to be the first churro on the moon, Mars. I mean, why stop with our planet, right?
That's right.
Yeah, no, we
Dominating
want
the universe, one churro at a time.
exactly. We really do want to be really like, listen, if you want us to make churros for you, we'll do that. If you want to have a fun churro making experience on your own, and that, like, from a hospitality perspective, that was an interesting design, experience design question, was how do we translate our in-person experience into a box, and into the shopping and unboxing and making experience. So that was really fun. We give like horns at devil's horn and angel halo, and there's a bunch of different, there's a little cowbell in there too that's important to us. So you want us to make churros, we'll do it. You want to make churros for yourselves, awesome, and have an experience. If you just really want churros and you want them fresh, we'll make them for you, freeze them, and you can just pop them in the air fryer. You want these crunchy little things on demand and not have to wait or cook anything, we got you too. So we just really want to help you live your best churro life possible.
I love it. Making churro available everywhere.
That's right.
Scott, this has been informative, enlightening, and entertaining, certainly. It's been a lot of fun getting to know you far beyond the churro business, but as you focus now on the churro empire, I mean, you're going to be the churro king of America. Like, who would have thought that, bald-headed white guy who went to BYU would be the churro king of America? But when you find something and you fall in love with it, and you have a system and a process and a mission to make lives better in using this vehicle, I think it shines through. I think it shines through the product. It shines through your enthusiasm. And obviously, will shine through to the customer at the end. But really glad to have you. Thanks for coming on the Pineapple Perspective, and good luck with this amazing new adventure and the growth of your brand.
Thanks so much, Troy. It's been awesome to spend time with you. I appreciate the questions and your own insights. It's powerful.
Awesome. Great stuff. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Troy.
Thank you for listening to the Pineapple Perspective. If you loved today's episode, leave a review and a 5-star rating. I look forward to welcoming you back next time.